the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome to the show. It is Thursday. It is July 30th, and it is almost August and football time.
The news is coming in.
I know. I am beyond excited.
Football feels real. I was thinking about that today. Like, I was remembering throws and catches.
What, like a blanket?
Oh, yes. Like a nice, a shawl. No, it was just like dawning on me, we're here. We're real football.
And that's exactly. And you're wearing your jersey today.
Yeah, I'm wearing my.
Is that the Larry Fitzgerald practice jersey?
This is. If any of the Foot Clan out there has not yet seen, we had our first water bet payout.
Yep.
I believe we tweeted that out, or you can see it on
Jason
YouTube.
paid the price. He made me a bet that Larry Fitzgerald would not sign with the Cardinals way back in the offseason, and he was
long time ago.
Dead wrong, and so he got watered, and you can go check that out on YouTube. Welcome to the show. We are the Fantasy Footballers. My name is Andy. I am joined by Mike, the Fantasy Hitman Wright.
What's going on, party people?
And Jason, the freshly watered Moore.
Still happy he's a Cardinal, though.
I am, too. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at the FFBallers. We mentioned our YouTube channel. You can go on there and find us. You can also visit our website, thefantasyfootballers.com. That's where you can submit questions to the show, read articles, see latest podcast episodes.
Gets better every day on the website.
We're doing work on there. I'm pretty proud, pretty excited. Quick question for you guys. I'm going to get it started right now. Which fantasy player this year has the most to benefit from an injury in front of them? Yeah, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
I have my guy.
Well, shoot, tell me.
Buck Allen.
Oh, that's my guy. No way.
Snagged him out.
Yeah,
I knew you would go for it, too.
That's hey, can I just say something, Mike? That's a great pick. I'm really.
Thank you.
No, I love that. And we actually, Jason and I talked about him this morning.
And that's Buck Allen from the Baltimore Ravens, who we love Justin Forsett this year. We think he's going to be showered in targets from the Mark Trestman system.
It's coming up.
And if Forsett goes down, I don't think Taliaferro's the guy.
Well, he's not. And Allen can catch it.
Exactly.
That's the big thing.
Buck Allen is a similar player to Forsett.
Well, I'm gonna go in a
Skill
very
set.
very similar vein, and that's David Johnson from the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh yes,
because Andre Ellington was terrible between the tackles, and yet was a valuable fantasy player last year in the passing game. So if he's off the field for some reason, David Johnson is going to benefit from an improved Arizona Cardinals offensive line and be involved in the passing game. Carson Palmer's back. David Johnson's the guy that would benefit.
Then I will go. If those two are taken, I will actually go Jay Ajayi. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I like Lamar Miller, as we'll see this show. But if he were to go down, I think he would be a true 3-down back. And a lot of the guys that, someone goes down ahead of him, he might not go to 3 downs, but Ajayi would.
All right. Good stuff. We got a good show for you today.
What's on the show?
I was going to say, we're dropping some news and notes. Like we said, there's more stuff breaking right now. We also have, and I love this, these are great, 15 fantasy gyms for the 2015 season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sound that each one makes. Yeah, Mike made another satchel when he was in Hawaii, and he brought some gems back in it.
Pearls.
Got him on the plane, brought him back here, and we brought 15 fantasy gems for you. These are awesome.
Sneaking oysters through the agricultural inspectors?
Easy.
No,
Not easy.
That is difficult.
You probably had to flex a few times.
Oh, at least. But I do that anyway.
We're also going to take some time for the mailbag. Going to answer some listener questions, and right now we're going to read a listener review.
Reviewosaurus Rex.
This one comes in from Mr. Meow Mix. Mr. Meow Mix says, this podcast is everything I could hope for in a podcast focused on my favorite hobby. The sound quality is great. Commentary is spot on, and the analysis is the best I've heard for a long time. These guys make my workday so much better, and they totally deserve to be on the last season of the league.
Hey!
Hashtag spam the league Twitter now. And,
wait, that's the hashtag he put?
That is
spam the league Twitter now?
Yeah, and now was all caps.
Is that 140 characters?
Right.
Are you talking about at the league FXX?
No, I think he's saying spam the league at the league FXX on Twitter.
Let's get the ballers on the league, people.
There you go.
We have one more chance.
But thank you, Mr. Meow Mix. Thank you very much for leaving a review. We do appreciate it. And to all of our listeners out there, the Foot Clan, we really do have the best listeners. And we appreciate these reviews. They help the show stay on top. So if you have, an iPhone or iTunes, give us a review on iTunes. You can search for Fantasy Football and find us.
Just so people know, the Android users out there are people who use different apps. We're on SoundCloud now.
Yep.
We're on SoundCloud. We're on TuneIn. We're on Stitcher. We're all over the place. A lot of people, when they see us mention iTunes,
Addict.
They think we don't love Android, and we love Android.
We're like 50-50 out there. So give us a review wherever you can.
Yes, we really appreciate it. And be sure to send in your questions. Go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Click the Submit a Question button, and we try to answer as many as humanly possible before we pass out and die. Let's get to the news.
News and notes from around the league.
I've already died like five times.
Dude, I'm not risking it. The season's coming. I don't want to miss the season.
Yeah, that's so you're letting me do the heavy lifting on the questions.
Hey, big news. Tom Brady's suspension has been upheld. 4 games in the books. He's not happy, and yet 4 games.
You know who else is not happy?
Giselle.
Yes, her, but Mr. Kraft. Did you see him talking?
Anger.
He's not pleased.
He is not happy.
I think that's why this had to happen is because Roger and
our good friend.
Yeah, I had lunch with him earlier.
Roger.
No, Roger Goodell and Kraft have been seen as buddy, and we don't need to debate this.
It sends a message to the NFL from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah, that's what we need to focus on.
If you've been listening to the Fantasy Footballers, we've been very down on Tom Brady, and the 4-game suspension that he has is not. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form it's a way to get great value late because he wasn't that great of a quarterback.
He was on and off.
Yeah, he was on and off. He had a stretch where he was amazing, but think about the year before. He was even in the top 12. I mean, he might have been low.
He's always been that way, and now you take a third of his season away.
Yeah,
that's
and
just,
you got to take up a roster bench spot to have
He's
him.
going to play 16 games.
Wait, what?
You think it's going to go to the legal system?
He will take it to court,
and then it'll be put on hold, and he'll get to play.
He's going
and
to
then
play.
it will be in another news and notes section. So
so Lev Bell, however,
this is good news.
He was like, "Take that, Tom Brady. I got mine reduced. I got mine reduced from 3 to 2, and this is big because that's one more game that Lev Bell will play for you.
I think that's really big because
it's a game changer for the
me
list.
the 3 games is enough to keep someone out of the playoffs if they don't do well enough drafting. The 2 is much easier to get around, and so I actually moved him up a little bit in my spots. He is now.
Where is he now?
Well, as of right now, he's numero uno.
Wow.
In both standard and PPR?
It's both, yeah.
He was my PPR number 1 anyways.
Yeah.
So
he's going to stay.
I'm moving him down. No.
He'll stay at number 3 for me. But what it does for me is I'm more comfortable now if I'm going to spend that number 3 or 4 pick. I'm more willing to do it now.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of quick hitting news here. Chime in if there's something that you want to chime in on, but I want the people to know what's going on. So Roddy White, not a surprise anymore, has his knee drained prior to minicamp. He expects to have the knee drained again during the season.
Not a big deal to me.
Not a big deal to you, even though he's been injured year after year and have his production going down.
Yeah, if you look at, we're talking about a different sport, but Dwayne Wade, when he was playing, he's constantly having his knee drained, and he's still been effective. Yes, he's missed games.
So what about Roddy? Roddy has not been as effective.
But I'm saying I don't think he's going to miss games because of his knee.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's
when
fine.
he plays, Roddy's been good.
All right, at the beginning of Cowboys camp, Jerry Jones has endorsed Joseph Randle as the number 1 back. This is something we've talked about since the beginning when all the Darren McFadden buzz was going on. We kind of believed in Mr. Randle, and he is the number 1 back, so he's got the shot behind that line to be something.
Jerry's a really good talent scout. So that's going to work out well.
He's also not the head coach, which he forgets.
Oh, well.
It's up for debate, right? Maybe he is the head coach, but I don't know. You don't know what the number 1 means. Does the number 1's not going to mean clearly it's not going to mean DeMarco Murray numbers by any stretch. So
we don't
he's
know
get the
what
ball
it
first,
means.
but I think it's going to be 55-60%.
Okay. Jordan Reed has been fully cleared to start in training camp, so this is kind of significant because I mean, Reed has been a fantasy relevant player when he's played consistently, which has been never. But he's been relevant for week to week times.
Say, can I break news for 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, go for it.
Jordan Reed injured.
Yep.
Oh, you can hit the button.
I was gonna, but hey, according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, second-year running back Trey Mason is expected to get the lion's share of the Rams' early season carries.
Love Trey Mason.
Well, this is something that, again, I was waiting for the two.
Do it for me.
Oh,
thank you. Yeah. I have been very cautious of Gurley.
It's less Gurley though. It's more like you've been pro Mason because of since the beginning.
Yeah, but that's just a combination of the two. Where I thought Mason was decent last year, and you're talking about a top 10 running back who's coming off of ACL surgery. They're not going to just throw him out there. He's a feature back for the future.
In some other news out of the Bay Area, there's been some reports that the 49ers are expected to replace Gore with more than one person, which we've said that all offseason. Yeah. I'm a big Reggie Bush guy. He's I don't have my rankings right in front of me, which is silly right now, but he's like in my top. He's an RB2 for me in PPR leagues. Reggie Bush is. So this only goes to show that I think Kendall Hunter is going to be involved way, way, way more than people think.
Yeah, right now people think it's 0.
Yeah,
it won't be.
They think Hyde, Bush, and it's not. Kendall Hunter will be back.
Don't forget that of all the Hunter hype of taking Gore's spot, I mean, that was a few years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
People were all drafting him very early because they thought Gore was done and Kendall Hunter was going to take the job.
Yeah, I have Bush at 17 right now. So.
My goodness. In PPR?
In PPR.
I have him
right you had him really low, Mike.
I have him at 39 right now.
Yeah. That is what we call a gap. There are a number of players starting in the active and active pup list. Notables include Jermaine Gresham, who we talked about last week, Joique Bell, Devontae Parker. Oh, that's ringing the bell.
Yep.
So Devontae Parker's on the active pup. We talked about him last week as well. I want to take a last second here and give some props, a slow clap.
Yes, very much so.
To Eric Berry.
Yeah.
Amazing news. Coming back from Hodgkin's lymphoma, he has been cleared to practice with the Chiefs. He is a stand-up guy, a multi-year Pro Bowler, and honestly, it brings back memories of, I don't know if either of you guys even remember him, but Mario Lemieux. He played for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I thought you were going to ask.
He was one of my favorite players growing up, and he missed 94-95 season with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Right.
And when he came back, he won a Hart Trophy. He was great, and I mean, just an amazing thing to overcome, and a really good guy. So
Very
I wanted
cool.
to
I thought
take
you were
going to
ask if I remember Mario Lopez.
Wow.
Wow.
You kind of looked like him in the Hawaii picture.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to cut that much muscle and weight in like 3 days?
I
to shrink back to regular body size?
Yeah, that's pretty tough. A reminder to everybody out there to check out fantasydraftwizard.com for all your mock drafts. We're going to be doing several more mock draft episodes during the month of August, getting you primed for your fantasy football draft. So check out fantasydraftwizard.com. It's free. You go on there, you plug in your league settings, you choose PPR, choose standard, draft against the experts. It's easy. You guys want to get to the main event?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do this right now.
Dig deeper, y'all. Let's go!
I love it. All right.
That's someone impersonating
so
Sean T.
So we're going to go through here. We're going to take turns. We're going to be dropping 15 fantasy gems for 2015. These are, how would you define them? They are
stats that we've dug deep for, we've done a lot of research in, and things that we think make a difference and are very interesting and need to be known.
That's exactly right. I think these all kind of congeal into a very good mental mix to have into your brain when you go into the draft. So, Jason, you get to kick us off at number 15.
Yeah, well, this is such a great kickoff because we were just talking about Buck Allen, and all for listeners who might not know Buck Allen and you're searching for him in a draft, he is also Javorius Allen. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
That's a good point.
But
yep.
He probably won't show up as Buck. That's his nickname. But anyways, the first tip is Trestman running backs. Is it real or not? Because you hear about Mark Trestman, who is now the offensive coordinator there in Baltimore, and you hear about, well, he's really good at getting the ball to the running backs. And is that real or not? Because we hear a lot of things from a lot of people that when you actually look it up, you go, well, that's not really true. Someone said that. And then it just kept snowballing. So I went back and I looked. Mark Trestman has been a head coach or offensive coordinator 10 different years in the NFL. That is a wonderful sample size to work with. And I went back and looked at every single every single season, added up every single pass to the running back position, and he's been on multiple teams. He was on the Niners, the Cardinals, I think Oakland, obviously last year the Bears. So we're talking about tons of different wide receiver or running backs, tons of different systems, head coach, offensive coordinator. Here's what I found. Ready? Over the last 10 seasons, over 1,050 receptions to the running back position in 10 years. That means every single year he's averaging over 100 receptions to running backs. That's ludicrous. I mean, last year, Matt Forte got 102. And so when I went back and looked, I mean, you have star years, 102, 72, 75, 91. And that's just for one player. The year when he got, I mean, it was nuts writing these numbers out and seeing how many passes go to the running back. So I think this speaks huge for Justin Forsett. Justin Forsett is a wonderful pass-catching back, is the perfect prototypical player for Trestman's system. The only thing you worry about is injury. That's why handcuff him with Javorius Buck Allen, and I think he's going to be gold. He is actually, on my rankings, and I believe yours, Andy, as well, in PPR, numero 4.
Yeah, he is 4 on both of our PPR lists, and it's a great point for those afraid of Forsett losing touchdowns. He might, but this is touchdown insurance. When you have high volume pass catching, just go ask Matt Forte.
Yeah, he's going to get 70.
Matt Forte didn't put up good yards per carry. He didn't score a lot of touchdowns, but what he did was he caught 100 passes.
Yeah, if you say he's going to catch 70 balls, which is conservative and very realistic, that's huge. So,
all right, let me bring you to number 14. This one's mine, and it is watch out for Carson Palmer.
Are you sure this is not mine?
Well, you know what? We are on the same show. Carson Palmer's passer rating in his 5 healthy games last season was 108, 93, 103, 90, and 104. His touchdowns in each of those games were 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3, and he completed over 63% of his passes last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his numbers were good enough to be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy during those games. And here's what he's got coming into the season. He's got John Brown, a year older, an up-and-coming wide receiver. He's got Ellington back and healthy. Fitzgerald has re-signed, and he is back. David Johnson was drafted. The offensive line was improved, and Jermaine Gresham has been brought in.
Sounds pretty good.
They have solidified that offense, and Bruce Arians is still running it. And I love Carson Palmer this year because he's being drafted outside the top 15 at the quarterback position. Mike, what do you think about that?
I have been singing the praises of Carson Palmer all this entire offseason. If you go back and you look since the bye week of Carson Palmer's first year in Arizona, he has been a beast of a quarterback.
There are so many people who write us and say, if I wait on a quarterback, who do I stream? Carson Palmer's in every list.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill, Carson Palmer, Eli Manning as later targets for that position. So watch out for Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I agree. I love Carson. My first little gem here.
Number 13.
Number 13.
Got to count it down, Mike. This is a countdown.
I apologize. Number 13, I can't take him off the field.
Is that a question?
Yeah. I'm Ron Burgundy. And so this is just a quick little stat for Buffalo because we've heard nonstop news about Shady McCoy. He will be on the field 105% of the time. He's going to take every snap. He's going to catch every ball.
Sometimes he'll play 2 positions.
Yeah, that's how much he's going to be on the field. He'll be everywhere. Last year, Fred Jackson, the best hands of a running back for catching passes, of 68 catchable passes, he only dropped 2. LaShawn McCoy last year, of 32 catchable passes, dropped 3. Now, I'm not saying 3 is an extreme number, but 3 of 32 is not anywhere close to as good as 2 drops for 68.
What's kind of funny about that to me, and having watched Fred Jackson over the past few years, is they can't take him off the field has generally applied to Fred Jackson.
Exactly.
Because he has been so solid as a third down running back. It'd be amazing if for like a third straight year he's underdrafted by that much. I mean,
we had a show a while back where we were talking about specific players who year after year after year were underdrafted despite being underdrafted the year before and crushed their ADP, and Fred Jackson's done it pretty much every year.
He was also just cut. They just cut Fred Jackson. No, I'm just kidding.
And what I'm saying with this is not I think Fred Jackson is a running back too. I'm just saying I don't think LaShawn McCoy's volume will be as high, and I think Fred Jackson will be involved.
Very interesting. Jason.
Hard to take him off the field. Well, at number 12 comes a royal relationship. And that is a relationship of best friends. a relationship of friends between Eddie Royal and Jay Cutler. Best of buds, best of friends. Sorry, Matt Stafford under the bleachers with Jay Cutler. It is now
Eddie Royal?
Yeah, it is now Eddie Royal. So here's the deal with Eddie Royal. Eddie Royal's not a sexy name. He's going really, really late in drafts.
Especially when you spell it EDDY like you did.
It's radio or YouTube. You can't
had to
see
point
my
it
spelling.
out. It's not very sexy spelled that way.
No, it's not. So anyways, his rookie year, Eddie Royal comes into the league with the Broncos, and as a rookie, catches 91 receptions from Jay Cutler. And if Jay Cutler is known for anything, it is for locking on to his guy and going to him over and over. And keep in mind, when he caught the 91 receptions as a rookie, he was behind a number one. He was a perfect number 2 target. He was behind who? Brandon Marshall, who he's replacing. Did you know that Jay Cutler is the one who got Eddie Royal to come to the Bears? He went and solicited Eddie Royal to come and play with him. He wants to lock on to Eddie Royal. Kevin White, great player. It's
Great
foolish.
potential is the word.
Foolishness not to have him be the number 2 there. But John Fox does not put rookie wide receivers on the field. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think
he's on
Eddie
the pup
Royal
list too.
Yeah, that's true. Active, but. So I think he's been a pretty good wide receiver. He's caught 15 touchdowns the last 2 years, so that's pretty darn good. So I think Eddie Royal is a value there because of the relationship between Cutler
that is
and Royal.
a sleeper alert for those listening out there. Eddie Royal, EDDIE, Jason, EDDIE. All right, hey, number 11. I'm super excited about this. Mr. Smith goes too late.
Washington.
He goes too late. Despite, listen to this. This is a little Alex Smith, Jeremy Maclin action for you. Despite a massive 140 targets in 2014, no one had a higher catch percentage in football than Jeremy Maclin. He registered 1 drop on 86 catchable passes.
Pretty good.
However, Nick Foles and Sanchez, the guys throwing him the ball, combined to finish 30th in the NFL in total accuracy percentage at the position. Now he heads to Kansas City where, amazingly, Alex Smith ranked number 2 in the league in accuracy percentage, according to Pro Football Focus last year. Smith's receivers had the 3rd highest drop percentage in all of football last year. And now he picks up Maclin, who doesn't drop passes. And so for me, this speaks more to Alex Smith being underdrafted than it does to Jeremy Maclin doing anything special in Kansas City, because he was also the top play-action pass quarterback last year, Alex Smith was, in terms of accuracy. And you're going to run the play-action with Jamal Charles all day long.
They kept acting like they were going to give Jamal Charles the ball. I was a Jamal Charles owner.
That's why his carries...
No, it's always play-action. Give him the ball.
And little extra tidbit. So Alex Smith, I think, is being underdrafted. He's moving up. He's going to move up my ranks a little bit because he has the ability to play he can have the same success that Tom Brady has in that type of an offense. And I think people think Alex Smith's at the very bottom of the league in terms of like average yards per pass. But Kansas City, they were actually 22. So there were 10 teams that had
near the bottom.
Yeah, he's in the bottom third, but just barely. And what I'm saying is he didn't have guys that were catching the ball down the field. Despite his accuracy, they were dropping the ball. So I think getting a guy like Kelsey coming in and do a second year and getting Maclin is going to see a marked change for Alex Smith. So dropping some knowledge about Smith, I think people should keep him in that streamer talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Alex Smith to stream. When he's a good matchup, he can produce some numbers. My number 10 is when volume doesn't equal production. Of the top 12 running backs in terms of total carries, only 2 had a sub 4.0 yard per carry average, Matt Forte and Joyke Bell. Both of those teams, the respective teams, the Bears and the Lions, spent a 4th or higher round pick on a running back. Now, clearly we know that's Jeremy Langford for the Bears.
Was he a 4th?
He was a 4th round pick. And my man, Amir Abdullah, my fro-yo bro.
Yep.
Not only that, but they got Jaquiz Rodgers. Then they went out and signed Daniel Thomas, so I don't know, Matt Forte.
I just think it's pretty interesting stat because realizing that both those teams recognized the need to draft a running back early, you just need to remember it.
Exactly.
And again, I'll stress I don't dislike Amir Abdullah at all. I just think Joyke Bell will have a role.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming in
a role like he's going to eat like.
Well, he always has a few.
Like speaking of a role, coming in at number 9. is called Roll with the Blunt. And that is
3-game suspension for Jason Moore.
LeGarrette Blunt. LeGarrette Blunt. Go ahead and roll him out in your lineup. He actually has a 1-game suspension for the irony there. But take a look at this. Over the last 15 games with the Patriots, keep in mind he was with the Patriots, back in the day before he went to the Steelers, got cut, re-signed. Over the last 15 with the Pats, he has averaged more than 14 touches a game, 73 yards, and a whole touchdown a game. He's averaged 1 touchdown every single game. That's solid RB1 numbers. That's mid-tier RB1 in a standard league and low RB1 in a PPR league. So you have the Patriots, who this year have a much worse defense. They lost a lot of key players on their defense. And think about what happened to Dallas last year, right? When you lost so many people on defense, what do you do to make up for that? You run the ball. You run the ball and keep the clock going. LeGarrette Blunt has been used like this, and for where he's being drafted, I mean, like the back of the 5th round right now, he's going as the 26th running back. I think he is going to be one of the more workhorse guys. You're definitely going to get a game or two that are frustrating because he doesn't get the ball, but he is going to find the end zone, going to be used, and is a talented guy.
I like it. Number 8, the tightest of ends.
Oh, so tight.
Ooh.
So tight. This tight end is 33 years old. He had the 3rd lowest drop rate in the NFL last season. He had the highest catch rate while lining up from the slot by a wide margin, 75% plus. He has caught 70-plus passes for 7 straight seasons before the streak stopped last year with 64. The tightest of ends is Jason Witten.
Oh,
I love Jason Witten. Actually, I can't even say I love him. Do you know where he has him ranked?
How high?
Let me look.
I have him at. He has him at 3.
Yeah.
Mike has him at 3?
Went back. He went down to 4 for standard.
That's still great. Listen to this: the Cowboys threw the ball 100 times less in 2014 than 2013, and 200 times less than 2012. Witten is 1 year removed from an 8-year touchdown or an 8 touchdown campaign. He's still the stalwart that he's always been. He's being drafted way too late, and if they can't get it done on the ground, he's going to. The touchdown numbers are going to go up. His catches are going to go up, and I think he has a real shot at a top 5. It's kind of where I'm ending up. So the thing about Witten, like Greg Olsen last year, he's always on the field. Every single snap, pretty much the entire year. And so if his goal line numbers increase a little bit, if Romo has to pass 25, 30 times more, you're talking about another 5 to 10 catches for Jason Witten. And he's as solid as they come.
I stand corrected by Jason, who knows my rankings better, because Jason Witten in PPR is my number 3 tight end.
There you go.
Because I love him very much. I love him to bounce back.
And you can get him so late.
Yes, you can. Yeah. It's fantastic. So if I miss on Kelsey, Witten's one of my top targets. Number 7, good as golden.
Is that another Ron Burgundy? Everything's a question mark?
Yeah, I like to have questions.
I like it.
In the 13 games, Golden Tate played with Calvin Johnson. Golden Tate averaged 75.5 yards per game. In the 3 that Calvin did not play, he averaged over 116 yards per game. As we know, Matty Snapback, like Jay Cutler, his buddy, his good locker under the bleachers buddy, they lock onto 2 receivers. So when Calvin Johnson is not around, you fire up Golden Tate. He was still very, very solid when Calvin was there. But in the games that Calvin misses, if you believe in that Calvin Johnson's old, he's going to be injured because he has more tread on the tires, you need to have Golden Tate on your team because he was putting up monstrous numbers.
Yeah, it was interesting because in standard leagues, he went from a wide receiver 1 to a wide receiver 3 when Calvin was gone. Yeah. So I'm so curious to see what happens because they should throw the ball enough. And, that's interesting information. Golden Tate surprised me last year.
Not me.
No.
Yeah, you love Golden Tate. Do you love...
So what's your take on Golden Tate? What is he to you?
I still like him. I actually bumped him up a little bit.
But you love him if Calvin Johnson is banged up.
Yeah, we're talking DFS.
I think he was number 1 yards after the catch.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
All right,
number 6.
Do you guys like monster movies?
Yeah.
Monster Mash?
Do you guys like sequels to monster movies?
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, there's going to be a sequel. This one coming in at number 6 is the monster sequel. The Target Monster Returns. And this is the Target Monster.
Who's that?
Who's the Target Monster, Mike?
Alan Hearns.
I can't believe that
wait, that's not him.
I didn't know this was in the show.
Yeah. Mr. Allen Robinson.
This is fantastic.
Allen Robinson, this is a year to target him and get him. The more that I look, first of all, he is, as a human being, incredible. If you go to like playerprofiler.com or look at who he compares to Des Bryant, to Josh Gordon.
To Des Bryant.
Yeah, look, my spelling has not been on point
to Desi
today.
Arnaz.
I'm glad that we have to bring the writing in. So,
Sorry, I won't do that again.
well, you will if I spelled it wrong again. Anyways, he is a really freak athlete. He came in his rookie year, and on his rookie year, played only 10 games and was on a pace for 130 targets. That is awesome. Then, Cecil Shorts, their leading receiver, their highest target, he had 110 targets left. So now you're going from a rookie year that was pretty darn good to a sophomore year where lately in the NFL we've been seeing the biggest jump be in year 2, not in year 3 for wide receivers. So he has a big opportunity to jump up, and Cecil Shorts not only took his 110 targets, but he also took his team-leading 16 red zone targets away. So all of that, you've got a great athlete who is a great wide receiver who is going from his rookie year to his sophomore year and will be the team leader in targets. That's all you can ask for is opportunity and talent. So,
and honestly, myself and the 8 people that own Blake Bortles' jersey all believe he has the ability to actually elevate his game a little bit in the second year because he has the physical tools. I don't hate him. He runs the ball a little bit. I think Allen Robinson's good.
I could weep right now.
I know you love Allen Robinson.
I can't believe I've turned everyone around.
Well, let's talk about your team now at number 5.
Let me.
Oh, you have another.
No, this is for you. Dum ba da dum ba da dum.
Teddy's got a gun.
Ba da dum ba do dum.
Yes, Teddy's got a gun, my friends. Let's talk Minnesota Vikings. As I unraveled these stats, it was like a purple onion. One layer at a time. I was more and more impressed and I began weeping as well. Teddy Bridgewater.
Nice.
Teddy Bridgewater was the 10th, listen to this, 10th most accurate deep ball thrower in the game last year. But in the second half of the season, he was the second most accurate deep ball thrower as he learned, as he proceeded, and as he acquired Charles Johnson. He improved. He was a 202 guy from week 12 on when Charles Johnson caught his first touchdown, and now he gets Adrian Peterson. Not bad. Mike Wallace, pretty good at the long ball. Norv Turner running that offense. You still have Rudolph. You still have Johnson. You still have Patterson. And here's the thing. Vegas has the Vikings at a 7.5 wins this year, and I have them at about 9 or 10. So I think this is a good team. And so the potential for Teddy Bridgewater to actually become a wide receiver 1 candidate is there.
Whoa. I can't believe he's going to switch positions. Teddy Bridgewater
Did I
is
say
going to be
wide
wide
receiver?
receiver 1?
That's what I'm saying.
Man, I was really confused, too. I thought you were calling Charles Johnson a wide receiver 1.
No.
I'm sorry. I was saying Teddy Bridgewater.
Got you back, bro.
Yeah, you did. Still spelled it right. Quarterback 1 potential.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that team. I love that team.
We're moving into another season of absolute happy news coming out from every camp. But,
yes, we are.
But there was another note of how Charles Johnson has bulked up to, they called him Michael Irvian body type. The physical traits are there. Charles Johnson is primed.
How many people do you have to put in the box to stop Matt Asiata? Is it more or less
6
than Adrian Peterson? Yeah, Adrian Peterson's about 10. And so I'm just excited to see. Well, I think Bridgewater was in the tops in the league with accuracy, with throws under pressure.
Yes.
And he's going to have the opportunity to run play action with AP, to dump the ball to AP and get yards after the the catch. So keep an eye on him. I guess 2 of mine are sleeper quarterbacks.
But it doesn't just affect the quarterbacks because
I'll stream Bridgewater and Smith all year long.
Mike Wallace does not get enough respect right now in fantasy. You pair him with the deep throw accuracy of Teddy Bridgewater, and Mike Wallace he went to the perfect team for him. And I've got Mike Wallace ahead of Charles Johnson, but they're neck and neck, about the same.
All right,
moving
we're
on.
up to you, number 4, Mike.
Number 4, I call this something's got to give. No question mark needed. Dun dun. So Russell Wilson has never helped a single pass catcher go over 900 yards. He has never had a pass catcher catch more than 7 touchdowns. He has never had a pass catcher catch more than 66 receptions.
Yikes.
We're bringing in a huge target, though, Jimmy Graham. Since 2011, Graham has averaged 89 catches, 1,100 yards, and 11.5 touchdowns.
That is more than every number you gave about Russell Wilson.
By a lot.
Something's got to give.
Exactly. And to me, the something's got to give is Graham's numbers going down. The offense is not going to completely switch courses.
The 11.5 is the number I give him the highest chance of duplicating.
I will agree. Of any of those numbers,
that's what I mean.
Is the touchdowns. Yeah. But to me, if Jimmy Graham, is he still going at the back of the second, third round?
Yeah, about that.
Around there. If Jimmy Graham doesn't catch 12 touchdowns, he's going to be extremely disappointing for that value.
He is my 3 in a PPR and 2 in a standard right now.
I still have him very high.
Well, because his comparables. But if you draft him expecting 89, 1112
you're
or something,
not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. An interesting fact. You know who caught the most touchdowns for the Seahawks last year?
I do.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
That is a low-powered offense.
Yeah, well, something's got to give, and more than likely they'll meet in the middle, so maybe Russell Wilson comes up a notch. So with mine coming in at number 3, it's Miller time. It's Lamar Miller time. I have chosen to go with guys who aren't
Andy's making a sour face right now.
A bitter beer face.
I said this in the car the other day before you get into it, that maybe I'm just completely unfairly down on Lamar Miller.
That is a wonderful,
and you said
wonderful
you
thing
are.
to say.
You said you are.
I think that is true. I think that's exactly where you are, and I think that's where so many fantasy people are. They're just unnecessarily down on Lamar Miller, and I love that. Those are the guys that you want to target going into a draft because he's falling into the back of the third round sometimes. He finished last year as the number 9 running back. That is a running back 1, clearly.
Really? He was number 9?
Yeah, he finished as the number 9 running back.
Wow.
Certain scoring
He was
systems,
the Clinton Portis.
That was in a half
He was the
point
consistent
PPR.
every week guy.
Every week.
He didn't win people weeks with like big games.
Yeah, if he was your running back 1, but as a running back 2, he is perfect. And so here's the deal. Last year, he was one of the most efficient backs week in and week out. He had everything that you want. He caught balls. He scored touchdowns. He had the 3rd highest yards per carry in the entire league. He is a talented running back. This year, you look at the changes made and all the offensive weapons brought into the Dolphins, the wide receivers that are going to pull coverage away even more. And now the coach comes out, Philbin comes out and is saying that he's got no problem getting Lamar Miller more and more involved. He was saying Lamar Miller carried the ball 14 times a game last year on average. And Philbin was coming out and saying, if he's getting the ball 24 times a game and could stay healthy, I'm happy with that. So split the difference. I mean, don't even split the difference. Go to 17 carries a game. If he stays as efficient, which there's no reason that he wouldn't, I think Lamar Miller is an extremely good value in that back of the third round. You're getting a high-end RB who is the starter on a good offense. So I really like Lamar Miller, and I didn't probably 2 months ago. I was exactly where you are, Andy, and I think a lot of people don't, and that's why I'm saying target him.
That's good information. And you spelled his name correctly.
Yes.
Number 2, this is mine, and it is 7th heaven. Number 7, I've got a lot of heat. For having Colin Kaepernick as high as they do on my rankings. He is number 5 in standard leagues for me. And so let me drop a little bit of knowledge on you as to why I think Cap can finish that high. In 4 NFL seasons, Colin Kaepernick's passing yards have increased every season. In 4 NFL seasons, Colin Kaepernick's rushing yards have increased every season. Last season, believe it or not, Colin Kaepernick was plagued by wide receiver drops to the tune of the 4th most in the league at that position. And Kaepernick is a downfield thrower. He had the 3rd highest percentage of yards in the air prior to the completion last year, and you're bringing in a downfield catcher.
Torrey Smith.
His name's Torrey Smith. You also bring Reggie Bush back into the fold. He's in a new-look offense that will dissolve or not dissolve Vernon Davis from the offense, who was a downfield threat for Kaepernick. Kaepernick's going to get the opportunity to run the ball. They want to run it with him. And so 3 new passing targets, new-look offense, a trend, much like Ryan Tannehill, that continues to ascend year after year. And so I think he can improve in his passing yards and his touchdown totals. And I think that puts him, a moderate improvement on his numbers with the way he runs the ball. It puts him 5'6", top 5'6".
Not to mention, but in this offseason, compared to previous offseasons.
And he's got so many cool shoes.
And he's got, I think he's up to 13 abs.
Yeah. His Instagram game is pretty high. But
a baker's dozen?
But he worked hard. He worked. I like that.
Not the guys you would normally get from baking.
Right, I know.
He's
been working on his baker's dozen.
He worked hard this offseason, and I think a couple years ago he bought into his own hype when he was, touted as the next Joe Montana.
When he went to the Super Bowl as a rookie?
Yeah.
Was that it?
And
Was that it?
So I think that he's worked harder this offseason than he has in previous ones, and that usually makes the difference.
And I hate guys with tattoos, but I'm all
over.
No. I'm just kidding out there, by the way.
And coming in to finish everything off, number 1, we call this Run to the Hills. As we know, or maybe you're new to the show and you don't know, I love Jeremy Hill. I am extremely high on him this year. I think he's going to be a touchdown just dominator. And I think he's going to get a ton of carries. I think he's going to be on the field a lot, where the big concern with Jeremy Hill is Gio Bernard. People think Gio Bernard's going to take snaps away, even though he's a third down guy. I have just an interesting stat of why I think Jeremy Hill will be on the field getting carries. Now, the Bengals' record with Jeremy Hill getting double-digit carries, so we're talking about 10 games, 8-2 when he got 10-plus carries. Now, as we know,
that's a good record.
As we know, Jeremy Hill was worked in slowly. And at the beginning of the season, he was still getting double-digit carries occasionally. Gio Bernard goes out. Games where Jeremy Hill has 20-plus carries, there's 5 of them. They were 4-1. Clearly,
which is exactly half of 8-2.
But to me, the offense knows what they need to be to win.
What was impressive to me is Hill got worked in slowly last year. Dalton had one of the worst passer rating years I think in the NFL since the 60s as a starter or something like that.
Right.
And A.J. Green was banged up. And I looked them up today. They were, I think, the 8th most efficient offense.
Because
like the number 8 offense.
He couldn't be stopped.
And know who's back too? Marvin Jones. That offense is going to – I think what you're saying about Hill is they're going to be in the red zone all day long.
I saw
and it's going to be Hill.
About the yards per carry on rookie running backs. And the only guys who have been as high as Jeremy Hill, it was Adrian Peterson.
Was it Portis?
Yeah,
Is that the stat you're
I think it was
about?
Adrian Peterson and Clinton Portis.
And the second year, what did they do?
I'm pretty sure they were pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. So
we all like Jeremy Hill. He is my number 6.
You know what else we like, Andy?
He's number 6. We love audience surveys.
I was going to say we love our audience. And
we do love our
plan.
audience. The reality is we have an audience survey we'd like to ask you guys to fill out. It's completely anonymous. It increases the chance of us finding some happy advertisers, which means happy listeners, which means we get to keep the lights on and keep doing what we're doing. So please go to podsurvey.com/footballers. That's podsurvey.com/footballers. Take the survey. Like I said, it's anonymous. It takes less than 5 minutes. And guess what? You can really help us out.
Yeah, it's easy and quick. All you have to do basically is remember the URL. That's it. Which is it's a podcast survey, so it's podsurvey.com/footballers.
Yeah.
Genius.
I know.
Mailbag.
Yeah. All right, let's answer some listener questions in the time we have left on today's show. If you have a question for us, it is so easy to send it. You go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Look in the upper right-hand corner. There is a submit a question button. You click it. You do a little typey. You click the button. Send it. Hey, we get it, and then we'll answer it. It's pretty simple. We answer questions here on the show. We answer them via email, on Twitter, on YouTube. So send them in. We really do love the Foot Clan. We love our listeners. We try to answer as many as we can. If you haven't gotten a response, it's not because we deleted your email. It's because we are working through them and trying to get questions back to you. We know it's draft season. We know how important that is. So, and we care about your team. So let's answer some questions now. Let's do some voicemails in a minute.
Hey, yo, it's Tony Meatballs, and Le'Veon Bell suspension has officially gotten reduced. I'm sitting pretty at number 2. I was wondering how your guys' mindset changes on him now. You know, I know you guys are like Lacy, really like AP, but, I mean, Le'Veon's a beast, you know? So, Let me know what you guys think. It's Tony Meatballs, and he's out. He is out.
Oh, double up.
Double out. Double
By the way,
meatball.
we've had so many Tony Meatball impersonators lately that
There's
I had
only
to go back and verify phone number.
What did we
I
have?
wanted to make sure that we had like Johnny Hot Dog trying to.
That's Johnny Hot Dog.
Johnny Hot Dog didn't. He failed. Tony Meatball's back.
Brandon Biscuits.
We haven't put Tony Meatball on in a while, so I had to do that.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but here's what I think. I want Le'Veon Bell, and I want to pair him with Trey Mason.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I want that pair. It's like my handcuff.
Well, you can get Trey Mason wherever. So if you draft Le'Veon Bell, just get Trey Mason wherever.
Yep.
And then you got somebody to play.
And I'm still Peterson in PPR, Lacey in Standard, and you then flip-flop those for my number 2 guy.
I got it. Thanks, Tony, for the call.
Hi, Fantasy Footballers. This is a new-time listener at Zach Garner. I have a question for you about my keepers. I'm in a PPR league. So should I keep Le'Veon Bell with the second pick or Antonio Brown with the third pick? Now, I know the easy answer would just say, yeah, go with Le'Veon Bell. But knowing the dummies that are in my league, I think with my 9th pick, I can get someone like Arian Foster. And then my the 16th pick in the second round, I could get someone like Jeremy Hill. And then I would have Antonio Brown with my 3rd pick. I think that's a pretty good first 3 picks. So let me know what I should do. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Was it PPR? I missed.
I assume
if that was
so.
said.
I don't remember what he said.
I don't remember, but let's assume it is because he's talking about Antonio Brown.
I think the biggest point here is what he made. You know, it'd be really natural to say Lev Bell's the guy to pick here, but you have to have the ability to play against your league mates.
Yes.
And so if you know that you can line up Antonio Brown, Arian Foster, and Jeremy Hill, I don't have any problem whatsoever in keeping Antonio Brown.
No, you have to know your league. We say that all the time, but this is a perfect I loved this call because it illustrates to listeners to use their head and think about the reality of their league, not just rankings, not just this guy over that guy, because it says play to your league mates, know your league, get to know how they draft, who they have or who they need, what their tendencies are, because it'll help you get a better option. So I've got no problem taking Brown.
And without going into it too much, I mean, I think that's what this show is about. This show is about equipping you with information so you can make a good decision based on the other things that are going on in your league with the team you want. I mean, I had somebody send me a question the other day saying it basically was a toss-up, but the option was to take the hometown guy in Andrew Luck. I'm like, take Luck. Take luck in that situation. Enjoy the fantasy football season. I mean, we are not the guys. I mean, we have our rankings on the site, and go use them in your draft. We think you'll do well with them. But we're not just putting out stat content and saying, print this on your printer and take it in and draft. We're trying to give you the way we think about drafting, the way we think about leagues and drafts. And we're not going to be right on every single player. But if we give you the fundamentals and the foundation for how we draft, you can succeed.
Yeah, I think a good way to is the old story of give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, he feed him. You don't be fooled again, as I can't get it out. Sounded like George W. over here.
Yes. Yes.
Teach him to fish.
Can't fool a fisherman.
You know what I was
Yeah.
That was a botched job.
Yeah,
but,
I loved it.
But we don't try and make the picks for you. We're trying to tell you this is how we think. This is what we would probably do if we were in your situation because of this.
Yeah, and there's so many different leagues, league types, players, or in this guy's case, dummies in your league. So keep those things in mind. Let's get another one.
Hey guys, this is Alexa in Tampa. In my longtime 12-team PPR league, you can keep any 2 players. My most hated rival is keeping Jamal Charles. So my question to you guys is, what round would you look to steal away Niall Davis? I know it will drive him crazy if Jamal Charles goes down and I have Niall Davis on my team. So that's my question. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Perfect segue question.
It is. I laugh so much because the temptation to do that to certain people in my leagues is immense.
Yeah. You know, generally speaking,
just for the fun of it, even if it's not valuable to me.
I've said this before. I don't draft other people's handcuffs. I don't draft other people's handcuffs unless that handcuff is worth having no matter what. Not just if you don't have the guy because it's going to ruin your roster. A guy like Niall Davis does fit that bill, right? If Jamal Charles goes down, Niall Davis isn't just a serviceable replacement for someone on your roster, but possibly a very top running back that when he was out last year put up great numbers. So in that case, I've got no problem with you taking your vengeance out upon your player. Mike, what are you finding as far as where?
Well, I was going to say Nile Davis actually he had good fantasy production, but he really sucked. If you look at his yards per carry and everything, he was not very good. What I would do in this situation is I agree with Jason. I don't like to spiteful draft to try and get people, but what I would do is I would be planting little seeds in that person's head.
Beautiful.
I'm going to take Nile Davis in the 8th round.
Yes.
And make that person reach for their handcuff.
I love it.
Oh, that is glory. That's doing such a bigger disservice to them than actually drafting Nile Davis.
And we've said that because if you end up with Nile Davis on your team and you need a roster spot, you're probably going to drop him in week 3 or 4 because he's not going to have been on the field. And you'll just be like, I got you, but I really got myself because I didn't have a flyer.
If they call your bluff, no loss.
Yeah,
but if it
that's
pays
a great
off,
answer, Hitman.
Yeah, nice.
I agree. Let's do another one here.
Hey guys, this is Dan. I'm a new listener. You guys are pretty awesome. I can't lie. Big Colts fan here, but that's besides the point. What I want to ask is, I'm the commissioner of a 12-team PPR league, and we're trying to decide if we should do a full point PPR or a half point. So, can you just go over the positives and negatives of both, and which one you think we should roll with? All right, thanks, guys.
That's a great question. I love that you're thinking about that and not just throwing something in there. A little bit of context, and then I'll let Jason and Mike answer this. But in standard scoring leagues, there was only one wide receiver that finished in the top 20 in scoring. And in full PPR leagues, there were 8 wide receivers that finished in the top 20 in scoring. So what is your preference there, half or full?
Half.
Yeah,
I love half-point PPR. It is the perfect combination of allowing people to get value for what they're doing on the field, but not swaying it so much where your scat backs and your wide receivers, your Cole Beasleys or whoever, getting too much value. So I love half point. The leagues that we've played in for a long time have been half point.
I'm a half point man as well. I don't like when wide receivers catch 8 balls for 40 yards and they still have a great fantasy day, even though they didn't really do anything on the field.
Julian Edelman really likes that.
Yeah, he does, and that's who I'm referring to specifically.
I knew it.
But we want to remind the Foot Clan out there, the season is coming, and with the season, along with your season-long league, there is FanDuel, daily fantasy sports. If you haven't checked it out, we highly suggest it. It's probably going to change your world just a little bit. It's a game where you can win money immediately in 1 week, and the best place to play is FanDuel.com. If you haven't signed up, head there. FanDuel.com is going to ask for a promo code, and you say, that's right, Ballers. Your promo code is Ballers. It helps you out. You get a match of up to $200 on your first deposit. You help us out, and we get to keep running the show.
Yeah.
Help me help you. Ba-ba-da-ba-boo.
Yep, that is the truth. We've had a ton of people sign up this month, getting ready for the season, and now
we really appreciate it.
We're coming into preseason, so yeah, we appreciate all the Foot Clan members signing up. Use the code Ballers, FanDuel.com. Easy as peasy.
We're also going to have a daily fantasy sports expert, a true expert on our show all the time through the season to make sure that if you're listening to the show, you're actually succeeding at it, because it is a lot of fun to succeed.
And it is a different ball game than standard fantasy. If you're not familiar with daily fantasy, it's a whole nother world. You're 1 week salary cap. You want to win money, and you don't play the exact same way, obviously, as you do in regular fantasy. So
don't be intimidated, because there are a lot of people who are it's actually really easy to get into it. There's a little, and we will talk the strategy. We will help people out.
And if you didn't catch the show on Tuesday, I want to remind you to go back, check that out. Evan Silva from RotoWorld.
Who's that guy?
Was on the show.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, where did those 78,000 Twitter followers come from? But he was on the show. He's a good listen, and he's got a DFS podcast that he talks about too. And so go check that show out. Visit the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Holloway. You can follow Jason at FF Hitman. You can follow Jason.
Really?
What?
Send Jason's followers to me.
See, I speak very fast sometimes.
That's all right.
You can follow Mike at FF Hitman. You can follow Jason at JasonFFL.
At FF Hitman.
You can follow Eddie Royal at EDDYRO.
Heart.
Oh, no, wait, that's
Heart J.
Heart J.
Heart Cuddy.
We'll be back here next Tuesday with a good show. Do you guys have any parting words of wisdom?
Go do your mock drafts, fantasydraftwizard.com. Win championships.
And fill out that survey for us. Help us out.
Oh, yeah. podsurvey.com/footballers.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.